Whoa dang, this is the first time we are actually in between two cars. The metaphor ever liveth.
Yes, so this last episode that we just finished recording was our first ever between two cars for a cause.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Racing for ALS is the cause. Scott Lloyd, one of the founders or the founder of Racing for ALS, and then Ron James, who is our fixed ops director, Honda of Indian Trail. And amazing. I'm so glad that Ron connected us with Scott, that we had this interview.
And the whole experience of talking to these guys who are so passionate about it, this all started because Ron James bought a dream car, a Camaro ZL1, and that turned into a track car and then a recruiting tool. And it put him in relationship with a guy who's taking the fight against ALS personally, because he's lost personally. He's doing something about it. They've raised millions of dollars to fight this disease.
So cool. And isn't that what it's all about? Like, you see a problem and you do something about it. It's something we don't do enough of.
That's right.
But the fact that Scott and his brother said, we see this problem. The problem is ALS. Their motto is that ALS doesn't not have a cure. It's just not funded well enough to find that cure just yet. And so they're working towards that. Ron is a huge part of that Racing for ALS community. I got to drive the really cool race car.
No one was injured. It was a red letter day.
We didn't die. It was fun. Yeah, and it was our first ever on-site shoot.
That's right. Being in the store.
And you guys aren't going to find any cooler cars than this.
Ayo, take a look.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Actually, Ron, we'll start with you.
All right, my name is Ron James, Service Director here at Honda of Indian Trail. Been in automotive now for too long, 34 years, and always been a fan of the racing industry and just in general since I was a little kid. So worked my way up to getting this, and kind of took off with the racing and got into it and became a little addicted to that, and it kind of went tied in hand with the dealership. And we have a lot of fun here with employees and tying them into it, since typically most mechanics are involved in some sort of this stuff.
How long have you been here at Indian Trail?
2 years.
Only 2 years? Gosh, I feel like you've been here longer than that.
But now I'm sitting here with you fine people in front of two race cars, and everything's amazing. I'm just high on life right now. Which, speaking of which, yes, we have our other guest.
Yeah. Okay. Give us an intro. Tell us about yourself.
My name's Scott Lloyd. Actually grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay.
I work in behavioral health and substance abuse as a consultant.
Oh, okay.
So I travel over the country, work in 49 states, and was also doing professional photography. So I had a lot of things going with, wife, kids, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then all that changed in 2017 when my brother got diagnosed with ALS.
Yes.
And so Racing for ALS kind of came about. And I know we'll talk about that later, but that's the fastest, I guess, thumbnail I can give of, Scott.
Tell us about your family.
My family.
Kids? How old are the kids?
I have two daughters that are awesome. They really are. I know every dad says that, but they are. But it's Audrey and Sydney. Sydney just started her senior year of high school. She's 17, and my daughter just started her junior year of college. So she's 19, and they've been a really big part of the charity. They really loved my brother, and just really proud of what they've been able to do. And my wife Mariah is a huge support. She sends out all of our grants. She sends out all of our merch. She she kind of runs all that part of what we do, and has just been super supportive of us making some unwise financial decisions, like going and buying race cars. When my brother got sick, we're like,
I love it.
We're going to go buy race cars. And she's like, cool. I was like, how much better can you get than that?
What a blessing.
So yeah, Mariah's awesome. So
that's cool. But I bet, so your brother Dave,
yes.
right? Dave or David? Is it Dave?
David?
Everybody calls him Dave.
Okay.
He hated that name, believe it or not.
Okay,
He
so
didn't
I'm
care
gonna
for it,
call
but
him David.
that's okay. We call it Dave because it's gonna sound weird if we don't call him Dave because literally everybody did.
Right.
But yeah, it was just like he didn't like to be in pictures and he didn't like to be called Dave. And so like everybody, all they ever did was take pictures with him, and they all called him Dave, and he just smiled along. So it was awesome.
Okay, but David, tell me, how did he like the racetrack?
Oh my gosh.
Was he like obsessed?
Yeah, he always loved racing, and even going back to like growing up in Fayetteville, we used to, go out on the back country roads, and he's the one that taught me to drive and drive really fast. Actually, I took my brother to his first NASCAR race in '99 at Bristol, and he was hooked from there. So we went and did like the Be Petty. He got to drive. So we had always said, hey, one day, when we retire, we're going to go and get race cars. And so when he got diagnosed, we're like, well, I guess, someday is today.
Yeah.
And he loved it. It was like an out-of-body experience for him. And when he was behind the wheel, nothing else mattered. And he actually coined the phrase horsepower heals. And what he meant by that was when he was behind the wheel, like his ALS didn't matter. Yes. Nothing else mattered.
So tell us, how did y'all meet?
So funny story. I got into the racing. I went to my first couple events down in Kershaw at a place called CMP. And check engine light came on my car, and I'm like, great. So I got to take it to the dealer. And during this time on YouTube, I've been watching everything ZL1 because I'm all happy about this new car I got. And I kept seeing this blue ZL1 called Beast ZL1. And he had these cool videos of the racing. Well, I take my car in at 7:30 on a Tuesday morning, I think it was, to get the check engine light looked at, and I see this blue ZL1 in the lane. I'm like, that car looks familiar. And this guy's sitting there signing his stuff. I'm right next to him signing mine. He asked a couple of questions, and he was kind of trying to not say anything because he was trying to get something done in there under warranty on his car. And I didn't catch on to it. Well, the guy I paid to take the photos at the track, this guy Trad, texted me later that day. He said, hey, did you happen to run into a guy this morning at Chevrolet? And I said, yes. How do you know that? And it turns out it was this guy, Scott Weatherford. The guy that I've been following on YouTube.
Wow.
So I'm like, are you kidding? So Scott was already a part of the Racing for LS family.
Yeah.
So one thing led to another. We connected, and the rest is kind of history. After that, went to the track. I mean, Scott Weatherford's one of my real close friends, lives right here in Charlotte. So it's just kind of funny. Bumped into each other at the dealership one morning, and the guy I've been watching on the internet was there.
Isn't that amazing?
And that's how I met him, literally.
Okay, so you're like a baby, and
I was still somebody had to have an instructor in the car. They don't allow you to drive until they sign off. But
But did you kind of like, as you guys are working together, did you kind of ingratiate him into that world? And like, is that how that racing skill began to develop through this relationship here?
Well, it is. And I would say the whole team. I mean, the coolest part about it, said Scott Weatherford is the first person we met at events.
Okay.
And my brother and I, we were out there just to have fun. If I'm being 100% honest, we just wanted to go race cars and just make memories. And we put an ALS TDI, which is ALS Therapeutic. I've said their name 1,000 times. Development Institute. I apologize. Sorry, ALS TDI. But no, they're wonderful people. Actually, we're celebrating the fact that we just raised $1 million for them.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to send the check next week that gets us at $1 million raised. They do 24/7 research on a cure pharmaceutically. They're a 501c3 pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
But we had one of their stickers on the side of our helmet. And so Scott was like, what's ALS? And the same way, then we met Andrew Trammell and Adam Boatman. Like everybody we met, they would just see the sticker and be like, what is that? Oh, how can we help? And so the whole racing community is one of the most amazing groups of people you'll ever meet, because anybody who comes in, doesn't matter what walk of life or anything else, everybody's welcoming you in. How can I help? Do you need a tool?
Yes.
You're like, it's just an amazing community. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, with that comes when we would go out and track in groups, you are chasing each other, you're getting better. So if this guy's faster than you're chasing them, and
That competitive nature comes out.
it accelerates your learning curve so fast. Like for me, I mean, it was a very short time of going from butterflies in the stomach and instructor on the track to teaching people now how to do it.
When you first got out there, were you scared?
Oh, absolutely. It was. I wouldn't say it was more anxious, because I had never been on a track, and back then COVID was going on, so you flipped cars. The instructor would ride with this guy, and you were by yourself, and you had to follow, and then the instructor would hop in with you, And so, and I'd never been on a racetrack, and I'm sitting there, I'm missing a corner worker waving a flag, and I'm like, oh God, like because you're so tunnel vision. It's really true. There's tunnel vision. Like you're just focused right ahead of your car, and you're not seeing nothing else. Well, then as you get more and more experience, like I was telling Caleb, then you start getting to the track, and it actually relaxes you. Like you get there, and you're just like, because everything goes away, and everything slows down, and it's just a progression.
Yeah.
It's a fun one. But yeah, first time on track, it was shaking like a leaf. Yeah,
What scares you now?
What scares me now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Mechanical failures. That would be the only thing that I'm scared of.
Good answer, though. Yeah, good answer. Expensive and scary. And
Yeah.
But then, so the longer you've been doing it, the more you can tell. Like I saw you messing with your car.
Yeah.
Messing with the car. Over there, you're like, oh yeah, I know this, and I hear this, and I got to do this, and I know this part. So like those, you can control a lot of that, right? Because you know what looks good, you know what things are supposed to look like,
Right.
What running well is.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The first time I went to VIR, I think I ran like a 225 or a 230, which is, I don't say slow. Someone's gonna get mad if I say slow, but it's not as fast as maybe some other cars. But I get out of the car and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was flying.
Yeah.
Well, I now run 156s, so it's like 36 seconds faster, and anything below 2 minutes at VIR is hauling the mail. And so the difference is that to run those kind of speeds, you're doing what we call 10/10, which means you're pushing the car to everything it's got. And so if something goes wrong at 10/10, there's no room to catch
there's
it.
no contingency at all.
Yeah, if you're running like 7/10 or 8/10, if you bobble a little bit, you can catch it. But the faster you go, the less room you have when something goes wrong. Does that make sense? So it's that's the part that it's like, a friend of mine was coming into a turn and somebody dropped a piece of metal, cut his tire, slammed the wall. He didn't do anything wrong. It just, so it's like that. That's the kind of stuff for me. I'm just very, very cognizant of what's happening around me.
Yeah.
So.
But that's, I guess, what causes the adrenaline rush.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You're doing 180, 170 every lap at VIR. It's awesome. It's beautiful.
Huge follow-up question. So we were talking about what scares you, and you were saying that the faster you go, there's no contingency to fix anything. Are you thinking about that in the moment, or are you thinking about that the night before the race?
Probably more the night before the race.
Yeah.
Once you're in the car, if you're worried about what can go wrong, you probably shouldn't be in the car. Like you've got to just make sure you're focusing on your next mark. And the first thing you look is wherever you look is where you're going. So you're supposed to be looking ahead at whatever your next mark is.
Okay.
But if you're in the car going, something's going to go wrong,
Yeah.
you're going to make something go wrong.
You're faithful.
Yeah, and that's maybe not the right hobby for you.
There you go.
It should be fun.
That makes a lot of sense. That's what he was saying. He's like, I can't think about anything else other than what I'm doing in the moment, which is probably why it's so addictive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
That's so rad.
Yeah.
That's so rad.
Okay, so tell us actually about ALS.
So ALS, it's also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And it is a disease that is 100% fatal. And I say 100%, there actually have been, I think it's right at 50 reversals, but compared to the number of people, it would be like 99.99999%. But the reason those reversals are important is because that's actually one of the things we're funding is a study on how those reversals happen. It's the same way that they attacked HIV and AIDS, was trying to figure out the people whose body fought it off.
Interesting.
And that's actually what Dr. Bedlack at Duke is doing. Okay. He's studying those people that were reversed. But ALS is a disease that it impacts the motor neurons, which means that, when I tell my hand to do this, it's motor neurons that are firing and telling my hand to squeeze. And so like for my brother, it started in his right thumb. Okay. And all of a sudden his right thumb just stopped working, and he thought it was overuse or whatever. And then they thought he had a bad ligament. And then all of a sudden, after hours and hours of testing and blood tests, because it actually is hard to diagnose ALS, they're like, it's ALS. And so it just slowly kind of took his hand and his arm, and then it started in his other hand. And that was my brother's progression. But you have other people that it starts in their chest, and if it does, they have 2 to 3 months. Yeah. If it starts in your hands, like my brother, he fought for 5 years. And so the thing about ALS is that it's a disease that when my brother was diagnosed, they actually said the words, "We know as much about ALS today as we knew about cancer 100 years ago."
Oh my God.
And we were like, that doesn't sound good. And they're like, no, it's really not. And as a matter of fact, at the time, they said, hey, we know that 90% of people are what are called sporadic ALS, which means we have absolutely no idea why they got ALS. No clue. And only 10% of the people who got ALS are familial, which means they got it from their family. Okay. We at least know that, and we're working a lot on that. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the good news, though. In our time doing this, for the last 7 years now, there have been 43 new gene variants that have been identified.
Oh, wow.
So before it was 90%, we don't know. Now there's 43 new gene variants. My brother's gene variant was one of the ones they identified. Wow. Actually through him taking part in the research. As well, there's 3 new drugs. When we started, there was only 1 drug. Now there's 4.
Okay.
I guess 3.5. One was rolled back a little bit, but still, it's progress. And so we're finally seeing movement. And I think that's the biggest thing about ALS and what we do is that ALS is not incurable. ALS is just underfunded.
It's awesome.
And so there's a lot of organizations, not just Racing for ALS, but a lot of organizations that have been raising money and awareness. And we're finally starting to see the needle moved, and we want it moved. And this is it's a hard disease to talk about and stay happy sometimes, but so many people that I've met and I loved, and then they're gone, and just watching them just come and go and come and go. And, we delivered a van to an amazing young man in West Virginia, 23 years old, the youngest ALS case in the state. And there's a girl that I follow online. She's, she's 13 years old. So it's like, sometimes when you think about diseases, you think about somebody did something, to get that disease, or it's like something you get when you're older. I mean, this is like
indiscriminate.
There's no rhyme or reason. So that's why we're working so hard to try to cure it.
And so we're actually giving people an opportunity, right, to participate in this. So tell us about the event in September.
Sure.
So last weekend of September, this will be Dave's Race 7. Which is hard to believe that we're already on number 7. And the second one without him there. So it's a special deal in that. And, it's technically a 2-day event with Racing for ALS, but there's also a Friday that I'm racing there too. That's what they call open track day. So I can go out on track anytime between 8 and 5 as much as I want. So in an effort, my fundraising goals, for the event, I'm putting out there that anybody that wants to make a donation, that we'll send out a link to, of $25 or more will get entered in a raffle. And we'll probably pick at least 5 to 6 winners.
Yep.
Cool.
And it's free to get in. Come up. I'll take you for hot laps in this.
Oh, you get to ride in the car.
Yeah.
Not quite as fast as that one, but it'll make you feel good.
It is very fast.
And we had a blast last year. Glenn Grosso, my GM, came up with his family, got to experience it, and like I said, it left an impression on them as well.
So y'all donate, right?
There's a code on screen, right?
Cool.
Going to be right here.
Should we point everybody?
The QR code.
That's right.
Donate now. So raffle, hot laps.
Yes,
right?
3 days worth. I mean, I'm there for 3
How
days.
fast do they go in the hot laps?
The top speed my car gets there is probably about 165. So
You could ask them
it's
to go
fast
60
enough.
if you want. If you're
The cold lap. Not as fun.
Plenty of time over 3 days to come experience something. The weather's nice. It's the end of September. It's a great opportunity, a great experience if you've never been or done anything like that, to check out all the cars, get to go on track. I mean, it's just a really memorable thing. So please click and donate, and we will make it happen for you.
Well, and Dr. Bedlack, who again runs the Duke ALS Clinic, actually did he did an interview, similar kind of a podcast style, with my brother, and it was basically something he sent out to every doctor in the United States.
Oh, wow.
And that was what's so cool about it. And he said, "Look, stop telling ALS patients they're going to die.
Let's go.
Stop
Yes.
telling ALS patients there's no hope. Stop telling them to get their fair. Look at what he's done, because they told my brother, you'll be gone by the end of 2019. We guarantee it. Well, he lived until July of 2023.
Wow.
And built a charity and raced, did all these things. And so that's what Dr. Bedlack was talking about, was like, it's not over until it's over.
Not over till it's over.
And that's what I told the doctor. I said, hey, the Lord knows when my brother's leaving. Nobody else. And,
Right.
it's been amazing. And, he drove literally, now this may be a funny story, maybe not, I don't know. So my brother,
We'll let you know.
yeah, everybody let me know. You can put it in the comments. You can tell me it's funny or not. So my brother, in 2019, he was really kind of starting to lose control of his arms and stuff, but he could still drive. It was crazy.
Really?
Absolutely crazy. So we went to the racetrack, and I was passing him. He wasn't driving like normal. So I get out. I'm like, dude, what's wrong, man? You're slow today. And he's like, I couldn't shift the car. And he was crying. And it was an emotional moment because we're like, okay, it's over. And I called my friend, Cameron, who's a big supporter of ours, and said, hey, man, I know there's only 2 automatic ZL1 Ls in the state, but I need you to tell me, how fast can you get one? And he said, how did you know the deal fell through? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, the guy that bought one, he decided to buy a Corvette instead. I've got a ZL1 1LE sitting right here in front of me that's open to be bought. Do you want it? I'm standing in the garage, didn't even see it. I said, yes. I bought the car sight unseen, standing in the garage at CMP. We drove home. My brother got the car, and he drove it all week to put 1,500 miles on it so we could take it on track. He drove it to the coast, and he drove it to the mountains, and so we could do all the fluid swaps and everything else. So we go and we run a SCCA time trial in a car he's never been on track before. Okay, still the 30-day tags flapping in the breeze. And he's the second fastest guy on the property. Second fastest driver, on the property. And so day 2, all the SCCA officials want to come over and meet my brother. What they don't realize is for him to drink, he has to go like this. Like he can't grab hold. He literally was having to go like this and like flip it up. And my dad was having to put the gloves on. My dad was having to put the helmet on, crank the car for him. And then he was going out. So like the SCCA guys were like, he's going on track. Like what? Like they didn't know what to do. But at that point, he'd already been driving for a day and a half and was like the second fastest driver there. So they had to let him go. But they're literally just like, he's gonna do what? Yeah. So my brother,
That's awesome.
Yeah, my brother with ALS. The second to last time he was ever on track, finished second place in a time trial in a car he had never driven. So that's the legend of Dave.
Astonishing.
That's the legend of Dave.
That's the legend of Dave, and he's like, "You're not taking this away from me.
No,
Right.
no.
I got this."
I'm falling even faster now.